What's up, everybody, and welcome to Bios3 Story Time. Today, you have to excuse me, I'm still getting over this cold, or the flu rather. Today, we have a very special edition of Story Time. It's March 26th, and you guys heard me speak before about my cousin Christopher who passed away. And it's his belt that I wear. And I actually wear his pants, his Adidas jogging pants, on the days that I train legs. It's a superstition thing for me. It's a sense of something to mentally lock into things in remembrance of him. And today, March 26th, is his birthday. Today he would have been 40 years old. So I promised you guys from the beginning I would give it to you straight, raw, and the truth. So I'm making this video to tell you guys who follow the Bios3 training channel, this is real, this is raw, this is unfiltered, unedited, and this is the truth. Okay? Truth is, I'm not feeling good today. I'm missing my buddy. I'm missing my older cousin, my older brother, who would have been 40 years old. You know, I joke with my girlfriend that I'm 37 now and I'm pushing 40. I always round up to 40. But to me, 40 is it's a milestone, you know, just like 30 was. 35 really wasn't, but... So, had he been here today, he'd have been 40 years old. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy that he's not here. It's pretty crazy that he would have been 40, you know. Here's a picture of Christopher before he passed away. A little bit of a resemblance there, right? Yeah, I know. Well, let me take you guys back real quick to July 1st, which was the night that he was killed in the drunk driving accident. And what had pretty much happened was Christopher lived life on the edge. I mean, he pushed the accelerator to the ground till the car went as fast as it would go. And that's just the way he lived his life. He wouldn't stop out he wouldn't stop for anything or anybody, and he wouldn't change his morals or his values, and he stood his ground and he lived his life exactly the way he wanted to live his life, day in and day out, because he didn't know how much time he had on this earth. And, you know, in his short time he was here, he lived like he lived 50, 60 years. He really did. I mean, I honestly don't think he passed away with any regrets at all. But I had seen him a couple weeks prior. I was working at the strip club still, and at the end of the night in the strip club, you get everybody out of the club, and you sit at the bar, you count the tips, the girls tip out the bartender, they tip out the bartender, the DJ, and the bouncers. So the bouncers make most of their money through the girls. So he had actually come into the club that night. Christopher had come to the club, and, you know, he was drunk. He'd been drinking, which, you know, I mean, that's what he did. He did it often. He went out with his buddies after work and had a few beers or drinks, and, you know, it's not that he couldn't handle his liquor, because I'd seen him, you know, I'd been out with him and seen him drink a hell of a lot, still be able to walk a straight line and always get into a fight and come out on top without getting knocked out. I mean, he fought a lot too when he was drunk, which not unlike myself, which is why I don't drink now too. But at the end of the night, he was a little too drunk to be driving anywhere. And normally when everybody's, you know, done at the club, you clear the club out. There's no exceptions. And I knew he couldn't drive, and he was waiting for his buddy to come pick him up. And I wasn't going to let him stay in the parking lot alone. So I asked Dominic, who is the head of security at the club, to let him stay. And Dominic, who had a lot of respect for me, which I had to earn from Dominic. And he knew I wouldn't ask him for a favor unless I needed it, because I hadn't asked him for anything ever. And I asked Dominic, said, can he stay here with us while we're counting out the money? And he kind of looks at him, and he looks at me and said, who is he? I said, he's my cousin. He said, he's your cousin, or he's like a friend that you're... I said, no, he's my blood cousin. But he's more like my older brother. He can't drive right now. I don't want him standing outside by himself waiting for a ride. And Dominic kind of looked over at him, looked at me. And Dominic, I mean, he was a good dude, but not always the most compassionate and caring guy. You know what I mean? He was one of those kind of stone-faced guys. And he was like, okay, he can stay. So now all I got to do is make sure that Christopher doesn't get too wild while he's drunk and piss Dominic or the other guys off, because then he's going to get thrown out and beat up if thrown out. So, which is another problem all to its own. So I'm counting the money, and then the owner of the club comes up and sees Christopher talking to me and says, who the fuck is this guy? And Dominic says, it's Jerry's cousin. you can't drive right now. So he looks at Dominic, he looks at me, and I kind of shrug my shoulders. And, Peter let him stay. Well, like I'm saying, this is very rare for them to let someone stay in there while the club is closed like this. And all Christopher had to say was he had met this girl. Her name was Candy. He had been dating her for a while. And he had said how much he loved her and that he wanted to marry her. And that he wanted us all, like when we were kids, me, him, his two sisters, my brother Justin, to live in a real close vicinity so that we could all do the things we did when we were kids. We could have the barbecues, we could have, the family outings and stuff in Cold State Park in Rhode Island. All the things that we did as kids then, now that we were grown up, wasn't such a big thing going on anymore. You know what I mean? People had been divorced in our family, and arguments had taken place, and everybody kind of done their own thing. But Christopher's idea was to take the younger generation of our family and pull them back together and keep them tight within the same area so that we can have, for our kids, the same thing that we had growing up, which was that sense of a close family, sense of siblings, even if you didn't have siblings. Our cousins were more like brothers and sisters to us because of the Portuguese way. That's how you are. Blood is thicker than water. And, that's what he talked about, and I was listening to him, and I knew he was drunk, but he was speaking from the heart, that he was telling the truth. This is what he wanted to do. He didn't want to go party anymore. He didn't want to go crazy. He wanted to settle down with Candy, have kids, have a life, and put things on that more mature level, that more grown-up level. And that was the last conversation we had. It was a couple weeks after that when he died. And, I have so many unanswered questions. There's so many things that I wish I could ask and I could say that I can't. And at that point, I knew literally he had spoken from his heart and what he wanted. And that was never going to happen now because he's gone. So I don't even know if I've ever told... I've told this conversation to a few people because I didn't really think it was, that big of a deal. But it is that big of a deal because you don't know when the person that you love in your life or anyone that you care about is going to be gone. And I've had this happen a couple times. And my friend Joe Pacheco, the last conversation I had with him before he passed away, he just... it rings in my head truthfully that I want to share this second with you guys to say, if you care about someone, tell them. If you have a problem with someone, fix it. Get these things done. Don't hesitate. Because as soon as the option is not there anymore and you can't do it, you will regret it. I promise. This is not a video about bodybuilding. This is not a video about health. This is not a video about fitness. This is a video about being a better person and caring about the people around you and being a better friend, a better brother, a better husband, a better wife, a better whatever to the people around you while you're here. Because after you're gone, they're going to live on, and your memory's going to live on, and the things that you did and said are going to live on, and that's your legacy. So if you guys take anything away from this video, take away with, don't wait to do something tomorrow that you can do today, and make sure that you let those people know that you care them, that you care about them, let them know. Bios3training@gmail.com. Comment sections down below. Thank you guys for listening, and happy 40th birthday, Christopher, wherever you are. We're out.